Welcome back, everyone. Brace yourselves for today's episode because we are about to witness the most tear-jerking moment of the entire series. With just one fateful glance through rushing traffic, Jack found his whole world. From despair to an explosion of emotion, from agony to absolute bliss. After all the storms, will Jack's embrace be warm enough to heal the countless wounds covering Tien? Stay with us until the very last second to truly feel this intense love. But first, please give our couple a like and remember to hit subscribe to support the channel so I can bring you new videos faster. Let's get started. Ladies and gentlemen, the sun began to set behind the high-rises, casting a blood-red hue across the city sky. Jack drove home, but the familiar road felt endlessly long today. The tires rolled over the pavement, but his spirit seemed to have drifted away. Jack stopped in front of the gate. He didn't go in immediately. He sat still in the car, gripping the steering wheel so tight his knuckles turned white. He was trying to breathe. He was trying to put on a mask of calm before facing his mother. For the past few days, this house was no longer a home. It felt like a tomb, burying heavy sighs. Jack pushed the door open. The heavy wooden door let out a dry creak. Inside, the dim yellow light cast a shadow over a woman sitting motionless on an old wooden chair. It was Mother Ly. She sat there hunched over, thin as a dry leaf about to fall from its branch. Her eyes were sunken, circled with dark rings from sleeplessness. She stared into the void, or rather she was staring at her own fear. Hearing footsteps, she slowly looked up. A fragile ray of hope flashed in her eyes, but it was instantly extinguished when she saw Jack walking in alone. "You're back." Her voice was hoarse. Jack rushed over, holding his mother's bony hands. "Mom, I'm home. Have you eaten yet? Don't just sit here like this. It's very cold." He lied. He said he was late because of work at the company, that he had to clear a backlog of files. He said tomorrow he would go to the police station again, that they promised news soon. But both mother and son knew those were just empty, comforting words. The truth was, the police were still shaking their heads. The truth was, there was zero news of Tien. The truth was that with every passing second, the chance of finding her grew slimmer. No one dared to mention the name Tien. That name was now like a curse. Mentioning it brought immediate tears. Jack looked at his mother, his heart cutting in pain. He reassured his mother that he was fine, but how could he be fine when his heart was bleeding? Jack had visibly lost weight. His suit hung loosely on his frame. The meals he shared with his mom were now just the dry sounds of chopsticks hitting bowls. He swallowed his food, but it felt like swallowing stones. In his head, thousands of terrifying questions constantly raced. Where is my wife? Is she being beaten? Is she even alive? Longing and despair were eroding this strong man day by day, hour by hour. While the atmosphere in the house was heavy as lead, the doorbell rang. Dogs barked and voices called out in the yard. The terrifying silence was broken. It was Aunt Lien. And with her was a stranger, a distant nephew they hadn't seen in a long time. The young man's name was Nom. He was tall and scholarly, with a face that radiated kindness and youthful enthusiasm. He was a senior, majoring in construction. Their arrival was like a fresh breeze blowing into this gloomy house. Aunt Lean chattered away asking about Mother Lie's health, scolding her for being so thin, then turned to strike up a conversation with Jack. The topic revolved around Nom's studies. The family wanted to ask Jack, a successful man, to help this young cousin get an internship at his company. Jack sat there listening. He nodded, smiled, and answered every question. Go ahead and submit your application. My company always welcomes talent, but you have to put in the effort. I don't give priority to family members. Jack said, his voice stern but sincere. Nam politely agreed, his eyes lighting up with joy. The atmosphere in the living room became much livelier. Aunt Lien's laughter and Nam's polite responses gave the house a bit of life. But take a close look at Jack. Even though his mouth was smiling, even though he was nodding, his eyes were drifting far away. He was staring out into the pitch-black yard. While everyone discussed the future work and bright plans, Jack's mind was wandering through the dark corners of the city, through desolate forests, searching for the silhouette of his little wife. He sat there, but his soul wasn't present. Jack's loneliness amidst the crowd was truly terrifying. While Jack was bracing himself against emotional pain somewhere else, hundreds of kilometers away, Tien was enduring extreme physical agony. Let's rewind a bit. After escaping, Tien, once a wealthy bride, was now no different than a beggar. No money, no phone, no ID. She wandered through strange streets, her stomach growling with hunger. She knocked on the doors of every eatery, bowing her head to beg for even the most menial jobs, just to earn money to get home. There were times when she was chased away or scolded, and Tien wanted to collapse, but eventually she found a job washing dishes. Can you imagine her delicate hands, once used to holding pens and flowers, now had to soak in basins of greasy dishwater and chemicals for 12 hours a day? The water ate away at her hands and feet. The skin on her hands peeled, turned red, and cracked until it bled. Every time she dipped her hands into the soapy water, it felt like thousands of needles were piercing her skin. Piercing her skin. The injuries on her legs from the fall in the forest hadn't fully healed. Standing constantly caused her knees to swell and throb with pain. There were times she had to lean against the sink, biting her lip until it bled, just to keep from sobbing out loud. The cranky owner was always screaming, "Faster, scrub them clean. Break one, and it comes out of your pay." Tien swallowed her tears. She missed home. She missed Jack. She missed Mother Lie. That longing was the only thing keeping her going. She told herself, endure it. Earn enough for a bus ticket. Just get home and everything will be okay. And today, the moment the owner threw a wad of crumpled, fishy-smelling bills at her, Tien cried. Not out of humiliation, but out of happiness. This meager amount was the key to unlocking her freedom. She clutched the cash, tight, running straight to the bus station, as if afraid someone would snatch it away. Back to the present. The late afternoon bus station was loud and chaotic. Shouting attendants, soliciting vendors, the heavy smell of gasoline. Tien sat curled up on the tattered seat of the bus. The engine hadn't started yet, but her heart had raced home long ago. She looked out the window at the strangers passing by. Everything blurred before her eyes. She recalled the moment of her panicked escape, She remembered the horrifying secret she had accidentally uncovered, the reason she was hunted and harmed. Tien gripped the thin ticket in her hand. She made a promise to herself. When I get back this time, I won't stay silent. I will tell Jack everything about the true faces of those hypocrites, about the pain I've endured. She wearily rested her head against the glass. Drowsiness hit her, but she didn't dare sleep deeply. She was afraid of the nightmares returning. In her half-sleep state, Jack's image appeared clearer than ever. His deep, warm voice, his sturdy embrace. "Jack, wait for me. I'm coming home to you." Tien whispered, tears rolling down her cheeks again. The bus shuddered and began to roll. The unfamiliar scenery drifted behind her. Tien was getting closer to Jack. But will the road home truly be as peaceful as she thinks, or is a bigger storm waiting ahead? At the same time, on the traffic-clogged highway, Jack was driving to inspect a construction site. He sped through the night, weaving between giant trucks and containers. His hands held the wheel, but his eyes unconsciously scanned every passing bus coming the other way. An instinct was screaming at him. His heart beat erratically. Is Tien somewhere close? Or is it just the hallucination of a man going mad from missing his wife? Fate really knows how to play cruel jokes. Two people deeply in love on the exact same stretch of road. But will they see each other? Tien is returning with a shocking secret. A secret that could change Jack's family forever. Will the enemies in the shadows let her return safely? Jack gritted his teeth, taking a deep breath. The smell of gasoline and city smog filled his nose, but it couldn't chase away the scent of loneliness haunting the luxury car. He knew he was driving on a crowded highway. Just 1 second of distraction could lead to an accident. But strangely, the unease in his gut churned like violent waves, urging him to look around. An instinct whispered, "Don't just look ahead, look to your side." And then, that fateful moment arrived. As Jack's car glided in the outer lane, he unconsciously glanced at the lane to his right. An old, dusty inner-city bus was running parallel to him. At first, it was just a quick, soulless glance. But instantly, Jack's pupils constricted. His entire body went rigid, as if struck by lightning. Time seemed to freeze. The honking, the wind, it all vanished. All that remained was the window frame of that bus. Through the glass, clouded with road dust, amidst dozing passengers, Jack saw a silhouette. Long black hair draped over shoulders. A gaunt, haggard profile. Sad eyes staring out into the void. Jack's heart clenched in agony. There was no mistaking it. Even if she was thinner, even if she was wearing strange old clothes, it was still Tien. It was his wife. It felt like all the blood in his body rushed to his brain. His hands began to tremble violently on the steering wheel. His throat was so dry he couldn't swallow. Jack startled, easing off the gas. The luxury Mercedes decelerated abruptly, causing the car behind to honk furiously. But he didn't care. He adjusted his speed, trying to keep his car parallel level with that bus. He leaned toward the window, straining his eyes. He was terrified it was a hallucination. He was afraid excessive grief was making him see things. But the more he looked, the more his heart confirmed, it is her. She was sitting right there. in the flesh, separated by just a layer of glass and a single lane. But why was she on that dilapidated bus? Why was she so thin? And most importantly, why didn't she see him? Without thinking, Jack slammed on the horn. Beep, beep, beep. The sharp, piercing sound of the luxury car cut through the chaotic noise. He honked once, twice, then continuously, like a madman. He screamed inside the car, even knowing she couldn't hear. Tien, turn around. I'm here, Jack is right here. Sure, gear seeker, you're in bar. He hoped that if she just turned her head, if their eyes met, the nightmare would end. But tragically, Tien sat motionless. She was sinking deep into her own painful thoughts. The honking outside was just the messy noise of a strange city to her. She had no idea that the man she loved most was right beside her, desperately calling her name. The bus began to accelerate to overtake. It was about to turn onto a different ramp. Panic surged in Jack. Cold sweat soaked his back. If he let her slip away now, he might lose her forever. He couldn't let her vanish into that vast sea of strangers ever again. A split-second decision. Jack gritted his teeth. His eyes blazed with a terrifying resolve. He slammed on the gas. The V8 engine roared like a wounded beast. The car shot forward, tearing through the wind, overtaking the long body of the bus. His heart pounded like it was about to burst out of his chest. This was insane, extremely dangerous, but he had no other choice. Jack checked the rear view mirror, calculating the distance in a millisecond. And then, screech! He yanked the wheel hard to the right, cutting off the massive bus. A spectacular interception straight out of an action movie. But he was gambling with his life. The sound of tires screeching against the asphalt smelled of burning rubber. The bus driver slammed on the brakes. The massive vehicle shuddered violently and lurched to a halt just meters from the side of Jack's car. Passengers screamed in terror, thrown forward in their seats. Suitcases and belongings crashed down. The bus driver, face red with rage, rolled down the window and stuck his head out to curse. "Are you crazy? If you want to die, do it alone. What kind of driving is that, you jerk?" Passers-by stopped curious, pointing fingers, filming with their phones. It was chaos like never before. But Jack, he seemed deaf to it all. He didn't care about the driver's anger. He didn't care about traffic laws. He didn't care about his dignity as a CEO. He threw his car door open, launching himself out like an arrow. He ran toward the bus doors. His legs were trembling, but his steps were incredibly decisive. He pounded on the glass. "Open the door. Please open the door." The bus doors hissed open with their characteristic pneumatic sigh. Jack rushed up the steps. And there, amidst the chaotic crowd of passengers, a woman sat motionless, stunned, not understanding what was happening. She turned around, and their eyes met. Time stopped. The universe seemed to crumble away, leaving only the two of them. Tien looked at the man standing before her. His shirt was disheveled. He was drenched in sweat. His face looked frantic, but his eyes held an ocean of love. It was Jack. It was really Jack. Tien gasped, unable to speak. She thought she was dreaming. A dream too beautiful for broad daylight. Jack stood there, gasping for air. His chest heaved violently. He looked at her, examining every inch. She was so thin, so gaunt. Her eyes had dark circles, and her hands, those trembling hands, were covered in scratches and calluses. No one said a word. Language became redundant. Jack stepped forward, opening his arms wide and pulling Tien into his embrace. A hug so tight it almost hurt, but she didn't care. He held her, as if trying to fuse her into his very bones. He buried his face in her shoulder, and that strong man broke down in tears. Jack's hot tears fell onto Tien's shoulder, soaking into her skin, awakening all her senses. Tien also broke down. She sobbed uncontrollably like a child. All the humiliation, all the pain, all the fear suppressed over the past days poured out with her tears. "I'm here. I found you," Jack whispered, his voice cracking. "Don't be afraid anymore. I'm here now. No one can hurt you again." The entire bus went silent. The passengers, who were about to curse, suddenly fell quiet. They saw this scene and understood this wasn't a road rage incident. This was a reunion of love, of life and death. Some even secretly wiped away tears. Jack helped Tien off the bus. He held her hand tight, interlacing their fingers, as if afraid that if he let go, she would fly away. He took her to his car, opened the door, and buckled her seatbelt. When the door closed, shutting out the noise of the world, they looked at each other again. Questions began to spill out between sobs. "Where were you? Who did this to you?" Mother-in-law. Tien choked out. Just those two words, and Jack understood everything. His eyes hardened, flashing with the fire of extreme hatred. But he held it back. The most important thing now was to get her home, back to Mother Lie. Jack started the engine. The car rolled toward their beloved home. But my friends, the story doesn't end here. Tien returns with a battered body and a tattered soul. And more importantly, the secret of the vicious disease silently incubating inside her has not yet been discovered. How emotional will the moment be when Mother Lie sees her daughter-in-law walk through the door? And what will Jack do when he learns the full extent of his ex-mother-in-law's crimes? A storm of revenge is about to brew. Don't miss the next episode, the old mother's tears and Jack's fury at the horrifying truth. Hit subscribe right now so you don't miss the intense details coming up. Give the couple a like to celebrate them finding each other. Goodbye, and see you again.